Hello and welcome back to my channel, Stitch It with Rachel. My name is Rachel and this is my knitting podcast where I like to talk about all the things I've been making, yarn acquisitions, projects, cast-ons, all that kind of thing. There's also some crochet mixed in. I am a full-time student and I also run my own business on the weekends. So I craft for fun and for sanity and for some stress relief. So I've got a really fun episode today. It's just a normal podcast episode, and let's get into it. So, starting off with the elephant in the room is my finished sorbet sweater. I finished it. I absolutely love this. It's not blocked yet because I was nervous to wet block it. I haven't worked with a tubular, like blown yarn before, and it just feels so like light and delicate that I was like, I don't know. I was just really nervous about full on wet blocking it because like it can get so heavy and I don't want it to like stretch and ruin the lace. So I bought a steamer. It's on its way. I'm gonna steam it, and hopefully that that works out well. If you have worked with a yarn like this before and you have wet blocked it and like turned out fine, please let me know. Because if I should just wet block it, then I will. But I'm a little nervous, so I thought I would start with steaming it. Yeah, super pleased with how this came out though. This whipped up super fast. I think it's a beginner friendly lacework project. The repeat's really easy to memorize once you get going, and it's on 7mm needles, so like it goes by so fast. Definitely the fastest I've knit a sweater, and it was even slow because school and all that. So some things that I did differently. So the body of the sweater I did elongate by, I believe it was 2 repeats. It's a little cropped, which isn't my favorite, but I was going to branch out. I was going to keep it cropped, but it was still a little too cropped for me. Part of that I think is a little bit my bust size. I did cast on for a size 3XL, but I did not do a gauge swatch, and I definitely did not get a size 3XL. So keep that in mind. This is like there's very little positive ease. Granted, that might change when I block it, but we'll see. Anyway, so a little tighter than I had planned. So I didn't want it super cropped. I'm just generally not a crop top girly. So I elongated by 2 pattern repeats, and then I did the recommended amount of ribbing, and I did do a tubular like sewn bind off, which took forever. I've done one before on my novice sweater by Petite Knit. There we go. And it took forever, but it looked so good. Like it looks so nice. Love it. I think it's worth it. I did it on the bottom of this sweater, and like you can't even tell. Like it does not look nice, and I don't know if it's because of the yarn, the needle size, my tension, like I'm not sure what, but like all of that work, and I got to the end and I was like, that wasn't even worth it because it doesn't look good. I'll try to put like, I'll take a like close up picture of it and post it up instead of me trying to like shove it in front of the camera. So that was a little disappointing, but also like by the time I realized it didn't look good, I was far enough in, like I was just gonna finish it. Like I was already in it, like I'd already cut the yarn, like we were just gonna finish it. So when it came time for the sleeves, I just did a regular, like a regular bind off. You can see the little kind of like braid effect that it gives instead of the like wrapping around with the tubular, and I'm super happy with that. I think it looks really nice. I think it looks honestly way nicer than how the tubular did on the bottom. Let me think, other modifications. Oh, the sleeves. So because the sweater itself was a lot more fitted than I had initially planned, I didn't want the sleeves to be fitted. I also didn't want like the 3/4 lengths that Veronica has in the pattern. So I didn't do any decreases down the sleeve. So it gave me a nice loose fit all the way down and a tiny, little bit of a balloon once I decreased for the cuff, which I think is really cute and I think really suits the sweater with the way that it's fitting me. And I'm so pleased with how it turned out. So I believe those are all of the modifications I did. Still needs to be blocked, but the ends are woven in. I do think I'm going to go in and add some elastic to the neckband because this I don't think will keep shape well over time. So I do think I'm going to add a little elastic so it stays, so it doesn't start doing this like weird like floppy funnely thing that's not really supposed to do. Other than that, she's done. And she's so warm. This yarn is so light. It's like wearing a cloud that's hugging you. Like that's what it feels like to wear this sweater. So highly recommend it. Had a ton of fun. And yeah, that's my finished object for the week. I have 2 half finished objects next that were not even whips last time I saw you guys. So super excited to show you. Let's start with the grandpa socks. So if you saw my gift knitting episode, you will have kind of seen these. So, because I've started gift knitting, one sock is done. And I got this with the sweet tea yarns that were part of my acquisitions from the first episode. I'm not following a pattern. I'm just doing like a vanilla ribbed sock. And I'm using the twice sheared sheep like sock ruler, where you just shove it either into the heel or the toe, and it tells you when to stop and to then do your heel or toe. So you don't have to have everyone's like specific foot measurements. And so this is my first time using it, and I'm super excited, and I hope it's accurate. That is the first sock, and we are well on our way to finishing the second sock. I have maybe like, I think, an inch or 2 left before I do the toe and then put in the heel. So these are almost done. It's not even November, and that's going to be a Christmas gift done. So I'm super excited about that. Love how it's turning out. It's been super fun. It's been a great on-the-go project. I've been taking it with me to my clinicals at the hospital, and I'm currently at a location that is just very slow. And so when I have downtime and I can't possibly study anymore, I'll get my little sock knitting out and do a couple rows. And so that's been really, really nice to have, and been a ton of fun. Where did I put that? Here we are. I tried to get organized before, but before I full on finish my grandpa socks, I am going to cast on my grandma's socks. I do better if I already have my next project cast on before finishing the first one. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if you're like that too. So before I actually get too much farther on those, I'm going to cast on with this really pretty like eggplant purple for the toe, because I'm going to do these toe up, because I have these little, making a mess over here, guys. 2 little cakes, leftover cakes that are like equal weight, equal yardage. And so I want to do these toe up so I can use like every last little scrap. So I'm going to start with the toe in the purple and then cast on in the round in this. And then I'm going to start the toe for the other one and cast on the round. I'm going to try to do 2 at a time, not actually like on the same loop 2 at a time. We're not friends, that and I. But at least have them both started so I can kind of like go back and forth between them. So if I get to the heel on one, but I'm not in a place where I can like really maybe do the heel, I can just pick up the stockinette in the other and, you know, kind of just go back and forth and be able to like, I don't know, have some wiggle room with what I'm working on. So I'm excited to cast that on. I think I'm going to try to do that this afternoon after work, or maybe in between clients, get that toe cast on. So next, another half finished object, which was not a whip even last time I saw you guys. And here, let me put it on. It's a Selbu mitten. I'm so excited. I think it turned out so cute. This is a Christmas present for my mom, and I had so much fun making these. There's one. I had so much fun. Like I am going to be a mitten girl, I think. I love socks, and honestly, mittens are so similar to socks. Like, it's a tube. You can knit them on mini circulars. It suggested a 6mm. I ended up doing 5.5, which was perfect for me, but I had to do magic loop, because 5.5 mini circulars don't exist. 5mm circulars do, but 5.5 do not. So I had to knit this magic loop. And magic loop and color work, like, don't recommend. Not fun. So that part of the process was not a ton of fun, but made do with it. It was a really quick project. These are called the Speedy Selbu mittens by Skiendeer knits, and they were in fact speedy. You could easily knit, especially if you're like an experienced mitten knitter, you could easily knit an entire pair in a day. And even if you're not experienced, you could easily knit like a mitten a day and have it done on a weekend. Like these are Speedy, and I think they're so cute. And because it's a thicker yarn, like this is so warm and cozy. Like, oh, I just love it. I just love it. And my mom is a red and white snowflake Christmas kind of girl. So, and she has absolutely no idea about these. So she's going to open these on Christmas and be surprised. And I think she's going to love them. It's going to be so much fun. I love gift giving. So super, super excited for these. And I think I will make some more. Like, honestly, this pattern is so fast and it's fun, and it's been great practice at color work. I do think I want to find a pattern though that will let me do mini circular, so a smaller yarn size, so either DK or fingering weight. I have a ton of sock yarn, and I would love to knit some like fingering weight mittens as well. Those I don't know will be quite as warm because it's thinner, but I still think they'd be super nice, and they would be, I mean, they would still be warm, just not as warm as like an Aran weight yarn mitten. So I suppose I could add maybe like mohair. I don't like mohair, like I couldn't wear a mohair sweater, but mohair and mittens could be really nice. It's super warm, also like kind of durable, like helps prevent kind of like felting and pilling and stuff like that. That could be nice, and the fuzz could be really cute as long as it doesn't like distract from the pattern, like make it too blurry. But people use mohair in like color work all the time, so I think that would work. I'm gonna look into it. If you have any pattern recommendations, please drop them. But yeah, so super excited about this. We'll easily have this other mitten done by the next time I see you guys, and maybe even like a whole nother pair, because everybody's getting mittens now. If I have time, maybe I'll even make my grandma and grandpa a pair of mittens to go with their socks. That could be fun. We'll see. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So those are all of my finished and half finished objects. Moving on. What do I want to start with next? You know what, we'll do this next. So I made really good progress on all of my whips. The one whip from the first podcast episode that I'm not bringing back is my self-drafted tank top. I mentioned like that's going on the back burner while I'm doing like gift knitting and all that, and also like coming to Christmas, like I kind of want to knit with woolly wools, not like a bamboo yarn. So I'm gonna hold off on that until January. So other than that though, I made progress, I think, on everything. So I finished this, and I made really good progress here. Instead of just talking about it, let me show you. So this is the only crochet project that I have, and it's the baby blanket. And ooh, sorry, I just hit my microphone. This little yellow marker down here is where I was last time I saw you guys. So like, I made a good bit of progress. We're getting there. We're getting there. So slowly but surely, I'm making some progress on this. I think maybe I have like a quarter of it left lengthwise before I can do the edging, which again, if you weren't at the first episode, this is going to be a rainbow baby blanket. So I'm going to do the whole blanket in white, and then I'm going to do the border in rainbow. So like 1 or 2 rounds of each color of the rainbow, just in like single crochet, maybe double crochet, something like that. And it's because it's for a family friend, and they're having baby in November, so in like a month, and they've had a lot of losses in between their first and this one, and so this is going to be a rainbow baby for them, and I just know they will love and appreciate a gift like this, and I really want to make it for them. So that's the rainbow baby blanket progress. And I didn't mention it, making this with the I Love This cotton, just from Hobby Lobby. I really like this cotton. It is so soft. It is the softest cotton, softest affordable cotton I have found. Blue Sky Fibers has a cotton that I touched, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's so soft. But just a little more expensive than I was looking for. And I didn't mention, sorry, I forgot, guys. For the mitten, I am using Drops Nepal and red and white. I'll put all of the details per usual, like down in the description box, the pattern name, yarn colors, all that, all that kind of stuff. So this was Drops Nepal. The baby blanket is I Love This cotton. And this was Alpaca Bris from Viking Garn. The grandpa socks are sweet tea yarns, and that was a one-of-a-kind colorway. And then the toes and heels are just Cascade Heritage that I had in my stash. So sorry for that. I think we're all caught up now. Next project I've made some really good progress on is my scarf for my best friend Teresa. If you're watching this, please stop. I've made some really good progress on this, and this has been so much fun to work on. Like, oh, okay, you ready? So here we are. This little green marker here is where I was last time. So I've done, I think this is a chart and a half. I've gotten through 1.5 charts a repeat, and this is such an addictive knit. This is so much fun. Highly recommend this pattern. It has both fully written out and charted, so no matter where you're at or what you prefer, like you can knit this, and it's so much fun. Once I got going, like it took a minute, but once I got going, also this is my first like lace work, like intensive lace work pattern. This was my first introduction to lace, and then we jumped into this. And I didn't like lace work is way easier than you think it is, and you learn how to like read your lace. So like I barely even have to look at my chart. Like I still like when I start the row, I do a quick like, oh yeah, okay, that's what we're doing. And the beginning and the ending are sometimes always a little bit different. But once I get going through like all the like repeats in here, like I don't even have to look at the chart because I know what to do because the the scarf is telling me because I'm just reading the lace work. And that's so much fun. Like, so it takes a little bit more, like it takes more brain power than stockinette, but I'm not having to like stop and read every single row and be like, oh, what's going on? So it is like challenging in a fun way, but it's not hard. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, this has just been an absolute joy to work on. I am using Knit Picks Luminance, which is 100% silk yarn, and I'm using 2 strands because it is a lace weight and a pattern called for a fingering weight. And this is like feels so luxe. Like it's so I'm loving it. As soon as I am done with this scarf, I want to cast on another for me. And I'm not usually like a back-to-back pattern person, especially with something that's a little more like complicated. Like socks are one thing. I love socks. I'll have those on the merry-go-round constantly kind of thing. And although I might be a mitten girl now too and be doing those constantly, maybe I lied. Maybe I do repeat patterns more than I think. Anyways, I want to cast one of these on for me. This has been a ton of fun, and I think it's just stunning. Obviously needs like a really good blocking. But yeah, I've just been absolutely loving this, and I'm so excited to finish it and to get to gift it. It's gonna be so good. I'm trying to decide, as much as I love this silk, I think I might cast mine on in some kind of wool or alpaca or something for like a warm winter scarf and do like a more like autumnal or winter color, because this is giving very like spring. So even though it's like leaves, the like light purple color is giving very spring, and I think I want more of a fall wintry vibed leaflet scarf, if that makes any sense. Obviously you can wear whatever colors you want all year round, but I just think that would be fun. Like either like a really pretty like deep emerald mossy foresty green, or like a deep teal-y turquoise kind of color. I know like those burnt oranges and stuff look really nice. Like I love seeing them. I just don't think they look really good on me. I like yellows and oranges, even reds, all those super warm tone colors I feel like are kind of hit and miss on me. I feel like I do a lot better in cool toned colors. I really want to get one of those like color theory appointment things. I don't know what they're actually called. I do, I just can't think of it. But where they like put the swatches in front of you and you see like what season you are, whether you're warm or cool toned, and like what really like brings out your eyes and like looks best on you. I think that would be really fun to do, and I would love to do that at some point. But yeah, I think I'm just rambling at this point. But yeah, super pleased with the progress here. Let me move this stitch marker now, actually, before I forget. And I should do that on the baby blanket too, so that next time I can have another update for you guys. I am hoping, so I'm halfway through this chart repeat, so I'm going to finish that half, and then I have a half. You do this chart repeat 4 times and then a half. So I have basically one full one left, half of a full one, and then a half. So I'd like to at least get that finished this weekend if I can. I do have a research paper I have to work on and write, and a physics test to study for. So we'll see about that. But that is my goal for this weekend. I would love to be past the halfway point next time I see you guys. So those are my goals for that, and just a general update. Yeah, having a blast with this. I want to make, this designer also has so this is Leaflette, but she has one that's like the same leaf pattern, but it also has cables in it. I think that was called Scarflet, but the cables mixed in with the leaves is like so gorgeous. And I'm like, do I knit the exact same one for me, just in a different color? Do I buy the other pattern because it's similar enough that I'll be like, oh yeah, I kind of know what I'm doing, but then you add the cables in for something a little different, a little challenging. I don't know. That could be a lot of fun. Things to think about. That'll come in the new year. So what else do I have for you guys? Oh wow, I kind of flew through that. Am I talking too fast? I hope not. Okay, so the last cast on I have for you guys. So first episode I said as soon as I finish this sweater, I am casting on the Cargill sweater. And I did. See the little drop stitch there. So I made a decent little bit of progress, but this pattern, I made a TikTok video, and I was really frustrated. And I was like, this pattern is poorly written. Went on a little rant. I would like to amend that. This pattern is not poorly written, but it is not clearly written, especially the beginning. The beginning is a struggle. On that YouTube video where I was like frustrated and stuff, I'm like, if anyone's made this, like, drop some suggestions in the comments. I'm struggling. And Kylan, I believe that's how I say your name. I'll put her info down in the description box as well. And she is a fellow internet fiber artist friend. And she responded to my videos like, hey, like, I think I can help you out. She is a tech editor, as well as, I believe, a ghostwriter for knitting patterns. Like, really good at understanding like what designers are trying to say. And so she helped me out, which, thank you so much if you happen to ever see this video. Like, I love how just like awesome and welcoming and helpful and fun the fiber arts community is. Like, it's just such an amazing space, and I'm so happy to like be a part of it and get to interact with you guys. It's just brings me so much joy. So got some help, made my way through, and then I went to join in the round because it's flat and you knit back and forth flat. This is a paid pattern, so I want to make sure like I don't say anything that's like too much, but I don't think I will. And then you cast on stitches for the front to join in the round. But this whole time though, you are knitting in pattern. So when you cast on those stitches and then you join, like, they needs to be like in pattern, like you have to have the right amount of stitches, right? And the math wasn't mathing. So I counted my 2 left shoulder, because this has raglan shaping, was, well, I'll just make up some numbers. We'll say that they were each supposed to have 5 stitches, and they both did. And so I needed to cast on, we'll say 10 stitches. So I had all the right numbers, but the stitches were not like lining up. Like the pattern didn't match when I went to join. Like, it was not. And I was just like, why? Like, the beginning of this was such a struggle. This was like home stretch. We were getting to in the round. Things were going to be good from here on out. And then the math wasn't mathing. So I went through and like reread the pattern. I was like reading and double counting my stitches. Turns out I have 4 extra stitches in the back piece and 2 less stitches on each shoulder. So not sure how that happened, but also I still have the right amount of stitches. They're just not quite in the right sections. But even with that, even if the stitches were like the pattern, like there's no boo-boos, there's no oopsies in the pattern. Like I didn't accidentally add an extra dip stitch or whatever. Like, so the stitches looked like they were right. And I just wanted to get in the round. So I dropped 2 stitches off of my backwards loop cast on so that so I could just fudge it and like make it work. And we were in the round. And I was like, woo, I'm in the round. And I knit 2 rows. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, but now my front stitches are rather significantly smaller than the back stitches, right? Like it's raglan shaping. So the front and the back should have the same amount of stitches. Like reading down the pattern later down on in the pattern, like that's true. Like when you're done working the increases, your front and back should have the same amount of stitches, and that wasn't going to happen. And I was like, how much of a problem is that? Do I really care? And I set it down and I went to bed last night. This part was last night. Because I was just like, I need to think on this, and I did. And I think I'm just gonna have to rip it all out, because then I also realized as I was laying in bed last night, like torching myself over this, going, why is this not working? I realized that I cast on for size 9 and then followed the instructions and the setup row for size 8. So that's where the miscalculations are coming from. So at least I know why things are wrong now. And so I'm going to rip it all out, but this is a good thing. A, I'm not that far in. And then B, I don't love the way that the raglan increases are looking here. Like it's just super holy, like make one right to make one left. And I'm just really not loving that. And so I think I'm gonna change out the make one right to make one left for lifted increases. I think those just look a lot nicer. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna try that and see if that looks just like a little bit smoother and a little bit nicer. The pattern is originally written to have a fingering weight and a fuzzy like mohair yarn held together. Like I said, I can't do mohair. So I just opted to do a DK weight. So I don't know if for those people who do the pattern with that fuzz kind of helps fill in the gaps and stuff, because it's not really that noticeable, and so that's why it's bothering me. But yeah, so we're gonna rip this out. It will be for the best. I'm a little frustrated though, because when you have to actually like break your yarn and then rejoin in a different spot for the beginning of round, which I've never had a pattern do that before, and it feels a little weird. I feel like you could avoid that, but anyway, so I had to break my yarn. So hopefully when I go back and fix this is still the right amount of yarn, because I don't want to have to like spit splice for like this much to then have to break it again. You know what I mean? This project has been a hot mess, in short. But I think second time around will be good, because now I actually kind of know, I think I know, how to start the beginning. And so that'll go a lot smoother and a lot faster. I'm going to try these different increases. I think it'll look neater. And then hopefully when I go to join in the round, the stitches will match up and I won't have to fudge anything. And then I can just follow in pattern and everything will be correct for the rest of the sweater. I think once I redo this and get past this, this will be such like an easygoing pattern. Like there's something going on, like you're doing the dip stitch, but it's not hard, easily memorizable. And I think it's just going to be a ton of fun. And I absolutely just love the way that it looks. And I love the color. I'm using Drops Daisy in some color I can't remember that I'll put in the description box. And yeah, so excited to have cast this on. Sadly, we're going to frog it, but I think it'll be for the best. And hopefully next time I see you guys, we will have an update and have gotten farther than this. I really, 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 really want to have this finished this winter so I can wear it. Like this pattern is so squishy. Like the dip stitch gives great squish, as well as Drops Daisy is like so nice and squishy and so soft. And this yarn is so affordable. Like I'm really impressed. I'm really enjoying knitting with it. This is my first time using it. And I'm a fan. I think what it's going to come down to is how it wears, like whether, if it pills a lot or something like that. But it is a non-superwash, which is nice because then I can spit splice for balls when I join. That's the only thing I don't love about Drops yarn is that they're all 50-gram balls. So you have to like join together so much more often. And I'm like, why don't you just make 100 grams? Like, why? Would be so nice. But yeah, so that is all I have for actual knitting updates. Ooh, I lied. One more thing before we get into acquisitions. So I did also cast on a gauge swatch for my step-by-step cardigan. This is in Drops Nepal in the color Fog, which I love. Oh my goodness. This color is me. I'm obsessed. I love it. The little hints, like the heathering in it, it's just, I think it's scrumptious. And I'm so excited to have this in cardigan form. The Drops Nepal is surprisingly like so soft. Like the daisy is soft, like really nice. Nepal is definitely like a little bit more rustic. It's a little bit more like toothy, I think I would say. But it's still soft. Like I think I'll be able to wear this next to skin with no issues. I usually still wear like t-shirts underneath my sweaters or tank tops at least anyways, just because I like to. But like I don't think I'm gonna have any issues with this on my skin, and especially since it's gonna be a cardigan anyways, it's gonna be like worn over things, and my arms are not as sensitive as my neckline. So cast this on, super excited. When I got really frustrated with the Cargill, I almost said screw it and gave up on it and just cast this on instead. But I was like, no, you want to knit this. You're gonna love having this. You have the yarn for this. Like, get through, figure it out, get started, which I'm really glad I did. So, but if I get enough Christmas presents done, which looks like I am very on track for that, then I might hopefully actually cast this on as well, and then I can have like an easy stockinette project and then the Cargill sweater. So they're both like, a sweater and a cardigan, so like kind of bigger projects. One's a little bit more entertaining with the dip stitch, and the other's just going to be knitting back and forth stockinette, like easy peasy, kind of brainless. I'm contemplating on switching up the needle size. So I hit gauge with this, but it's just kind of, I'm sorry, the lighting like isn't the greatest. It's kind of gray out today, which I'm loving. I am here for the cold, cool fall, winter weather season. But sorry, the lighting's not great. So I don't know if you can see, but the fabric is just like a little thin, like a little bit holy. And this is just a swatch. So once you get a whole garment, like a whole cardigan, there's a little bit more weight. I'm afraid it's going to like stretch it out kind of like even more. And I don't want it to be holy. Like I want it to be like not dense, but like solid fabric. So I think I'm going to drop down a needle size and then maybe go up a size in the pattern. I don't know. I'm unsure. If you have recommendations, please let me know. But I know I don't love the fabric. Like it's nice, but I don't want personally a holy fabric for this cardigan. So I am going to knit. I don't want to knit another swatch, but I'm going to knit another swatch in a smaller needle. And then I'll know, I think, based off of how many stitches I'm off of gauge, whether or not I can still knit the same size since it's a little bit oversized, or if I need to go up a size and go from there. But super excited about the yarn and the color, and I think the pattern will just be easy peasy and fun. It'll be my first cardigan, and I'm really excited to have it. As much as I like love sweater knitting, I am definitely like a cardigan person. Like I do really well with layers, and so I've kind of put them off though because I don't love knitting flat, having to go back and forth. I don't hate purling, but I definitely prefer knitting in the round. But I think this is going to be fun. Excuse me. And it's going to be worth it. It's going to be really nice to just have a cardigan. This will be a great color. It's a little bit blue, but it's not too blue that I won't be able to wear it with jeans, because I do run into that issue. Blues are my favorite colors. And so like that blue novice sweater that I knit, it's a super, super dark navy grayish kind of blue, which matches jeans really well, which is unfortunate because then it's all just like the same color, and that's just not my vibe. I don't prefer that personally. So I'm gonna have to wear that with like black jeans or like trousers of some kind or something. But yeah, I've run into that issue where like blues are my favorite colors, but then blue sweaters on blue jeans, it just looks a little, I don't know, it's just not my favorite. So this, however, is a light enough, gray enough, purpley enough that I don't think I'll run into that issue. So I think it'll be a great layer to just throw on and over things over the winter season. Again, I'm really hoping that I can have this done too by the end of winter, before the end of winter, so I can wear it. That might be a little delusional at this point, but we'll see. So now that is officially everything for my active projects. Moving on to acquisitions. I have some really fun acquisitions that I'm really excited about. They're not all yarn. I do also have some yarn, which, did I need it? No. Did I still get it? Yes. So moving on. Let's start with what I'm most excited about. I treated myself to some Xiaogu needle set. This is the full, complete set. And I've been drooling over this. I've been wanting this for like a year. It was on sale for $150, $148 actually. It's normally like, I think, $200 to $220. And ideally, I would have bought this from my local yarn shop, but for that much money off, I went with Amazon. I'm sorry. I know I do my best, but as a college student, that much money difference, I went with the cheaper one, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I will be buying all of my additional cords and spare needles and stuff like that from my local yarn shop. But I got the kit, and it's a dream. It's an absolute dream. I switched my Leaflette scarf from my cheap Amazon needles, which are honestly great, to my Xiaogu, and they're just a dream to work with. I am obsessed. I don't think I will ever use anything but Xiaogu. Mind you, I do still have my cheap little Amazon one, and I do still use them. Honestly, it's an absolute great set. I do want to say, like, if you like getting into knitting or want to get into knitting and you don't want to spend a lot of money on needles, these are like 25 or 30 bucks on Amazon, and honestly, I have no complaints. It was an absolutely great set, and I will continue to use it until it dies. But I am really excited and happy to have this Xiaogu set. It is just an absolute dream to work with, and it's been so much fun to have them. So that was my expensive, super exciting acquisition for me. I'm considering it an early birthday present. My birthday is in November, and I turn 30. So a little treat yourself, happy birthday to me with buying these needles. And yeah, super excited that I splurged and got that for myself. The next item that I acquired is a book. Like I said, I've become a mitten obsessed. So I got this Selbu Mittens book by, forgive me, Anne Bardsgard. I know I'm probably not pronouncing that right because there's little things above the letters that I don't know how to pronounce, but this book is incredible. I found it like online, but you can't like just buy it anywhere. I don't know if it's like out of print, but like it's not old. It's a somewhat new release. But like you can't buy it from Barnes & Noble. You can't buy it from like my local yarn shop didn't have it. And I think I got this from some random like schoolhouse press or something, like some like online bookstore of some kind. And it was expensive. I think it was like $50, but the information in here, like the history in here, is so incredible. Like it goes into the history of Selbu, which is a town in Norway, I believe. Yeah. Like it goes into all of the history And the reason why this person wanted to create this book, and it's like, it's really cool. Like there's so much information in the beginning about the history and the culture behind these. And it's been really fun and really cool to get to see. And then what's been also so much fun. So the person who wrote this book, it was part research project. So they went around, there is a Selbu mitten, oh my God, I just lost the word. Museum. There's a museum, and that it shows all these like old mittens and old, mittens that don't even have patterns, and just trying to hold on to the heritage and the culture and in that area. And so when they put together this book, and this little this information was in the beginning of this book, they like asked the local townspeople, like, hey, please bring in those mittens that your nan knit for you years ago, and she's gone now. And so they had people from all around bring in their mittens that they've knit, that their nan knit, that whatever, and they took pictures of them to document them, to save the patterns, because a lot of these, there's no patterns for them. They were either just created, or there was a pattern and now it's gone because it was in Nan's notebook that no one can find. Anyways, I'm nerding out a little bit now. The book is super freaking cool, and there's so much information. There's so many patterns. I don't want to give anything away, but I also kind of want to show you guys like a little bit. Like there's charts for full ones. There's just motif charts. There's all the pictures of old mittens. Like so much valuable information in this. I'm so excited to add this to my knitting library. And this is a great, like, then you can create your own. So like there's a couple patterns in the back that you can like follow, but then you can just like pull the motifs that you like and make your own. And I just am so excited to get to play with this. So that was a super fun book acquisition. Now I have my yarn acquisition. So one day after, I should really know better. One day after work, I decided to stop by Craft Warehouse. I don't go to Craft Warehouse that often. Before moving here, like I'd never been to one. I didn't know they were a chain store. And they do carry some wool yarns and stuff that are not carried in other big box stores. And so one day after work, I was just like, well, let's just walk into Craft Warehouse. It's really close by, on a whim. And they had Cascade 220 for 30% off. So I bought some. And I bought these to make mittens with, because I've now decided everybody's getting mittens. I think I'm going to do the green for my grandpa, and actually this blue purple for my grandma. I didn't want them to like match the socks, so I really wanted to. Sorry, dog's getting on the couch, trying to sit on my projects. Yeah, so Cascade 220 was 30% off. I've never worked with it before. I've heard such good things about it. It is like a classic workhorse go-to yarn for so many people. That's affordable, it's durable, like so many good qualities, huge color selection. Oh my goodness. Craft Warehouse that I go to only has like maybe 15 to 20 colors, and I think Cascade 220 has like 150. And this is just the straight up like Cascade 220 in the worsted Aran weight, not superwash. And yeah, super excited about that. I have to tell you, it was really hard to not buy a sweater quantity's worth. I was so close. Luckily, the sale is over now, so I cannot, in fact, go buy a sweater quantity's worth to make a colorwork sweater out of. I really want to make this sheep camp sweater. I cannot remember the designer's name right now. I'll put a little picture up. And I think I saw some projects where people used 220 for that. Wait, no. Sheep camp is a DK weight. Now I can't remember. I've been looking at too many patterns. That's one of the ones I want to make. I don't remember whether or not this yarn would work for it, but there are some patterns I have that I want to make that this yarn would work for it. But I restrained myself, and I did not, in fact, buy a sweater's quantity worth of yarn. So because I have 4 sweater quantities in my stash with sweaters planned, and luckily like I'm chucking away at them. We got the Cargill sweater, and I got the swatch or the cardigan, so that's 2 out of the 4. So really not bad, but I digress. bought some Cascade, excited to make mittens with it. And we'll update you guys on how that goes. All right, last thing of the day, and this is not yarn, I bought some fabric because I really want to make my own project bags. I love crafting of all kinds. Sewing is something I also want to get into, and I feel like making knitting project bags is a great kind of like beginner like intro. And I found this super cute fabric that's fall. Oh my goodness. Look, it even has like this pretty little like green cardigan sweater in it. It's just like, I love the colors in it, and it's fall, but it's not like, I don't know. I just really, really love the fabric, and I thought it would be so stinking cute. And so then I got this green fabric, which has this really light, like leaf detail. And so this is going to be the lining, the inside. And then I have an old pair of jeans I'm going to cut up to make the bottom. So we're going to blue denim on the bottom. This will be the outside, and then this will be the lining. So super excited to delve into that and teach myself how to sew. My mom has a sewing machine, and she does sew sporadically. Like, she knows the basics. She doesn't sew clothes or anything, mostly dog bandanas and stuff like that. But so super excited to give this a try. I don't know when I'm going to have time to do this because I need instructions from someone else who's also very busy. But hopefully I will get to have this done before January, because I could really use another project bag for all these sweaters and gift knits I have planned. So that is finally everything. I am done rambling. If you are still here, thank you so much for joining me today. This is so much fun. I love feeling like I just get to hang out and chit chat about like all my knitting and crochet and fiber arts things with other people who are interested in all of that. So thank you so much for sticking around. If you enjoyed this, it would mean the world to me if you gave it a like, a thumbs up, give a subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.